Well, hello everyone, welcome to the allotment tour on the 1st of June, a new month, and I suppose we're now summer, aren't we? Although lately it's been feeling quite like it. We're just starting off with the rhubarb bed as usual, and we haven't cropped from it for a while, but there's potentially a little bit more to come off of it than ones I saved from having been planted in the pathways. So doing okay at the front there. Tayberry is still looking like it's in its first year, not really happening. Palmeiras potatoes in the background there. So it's just moving along. And we're coming to the fruit bushes that we inherited, and we have discovered a little bit of a mistake on our part. If we'd actually known the front two here were gooseberries, then we wouldn't have necessarily put down manure, although we weren't to know that that can actually result in powdery mildew. So the new shoots and fruits, particularly on that one there on the left, have got mildew, so we're probably going to grub these out at some point and put in some mildew resistant varieties for next year, because it would be quite nice to have some gooseberries. So just coming around here, we've got the squashes are all in. Curry and Crown Prince, which seems to be a couple of favourites for this year. A couple of wigwams for the beans. They're all planted out and growing away quite nicely. I'm going to come back and tie those in later. Alright, we've got the carrots, which you can just about see underneath the fleece. We're going to have to work out how to raise the netting there, which is stopping the foxes from running over the top of it. But now that the carrots are growing up, we're going to have to lift that a little bit. We've got radishes and parsnips in the back there. The parsnips are now very much visible. Although, to be fair, I say what sort of depth they're actually going to be able to get in a bath like that. Now the soil has sunk down quite considerably. It may not be that great. We'll try and plant them out, do parsnips in a proper bed next year. So we've got the leeks in, which are doing a lot better now they're in the ground than when they were waiting to go in. They looked rather spindly and pathetic. Onions, you almost think that we've got two varieties of onions. If I come down here, you can see how well the ones are doing on the left and how pathetic the ones on the right are doing. Now, we might have fallen foul a little bit of the no-dig method here, because we really didn't dig. We just took what we'd inherited, and it may well be that some section of the soil was just too compact at that end for the onions' liking, or some such thing. So, you know, obviously next year when there's no dig for a second year, things will hopefully be better, but it may be tempting just to lift things back and give it a bit of a tickle, so that we don't lose half our onions next year as well. Garlic over there cracking on, and our spare potatoes, we just threw them in there because we had a bit of a space. Coming around here, we've got we've got peas. Peas are doing rather nicely. So they're not too much notching from the bean weevil, but there was initially, as there's certainly some of this lower down stuff. If I zoom in a little bit, so some of the sickened sowing, you can see the notching around there on the edges. And that's from that little weevil, which might be easier to spot now it's a damp soil, because they're kind of light brown now that it's been raining. Okay, we've got marigolds. Right, we've got Aztec broccoli. So we're going to see how that goes. A little bit concerned that it might end up being a bit of a weed. So when it gets to the point where it might be seeding, we're going to make sure that it doesn't seed. And over here we have lettuce, which seems to be just about coping, although I don't really think we're going to get much of a harvest from that this year. Spring onions, again they've been really struggling for us this year, but hopefully they're going to be improving. And some mini melons. We were given the seed, we're giving it a go, but it may well be that it prefers being in a greenhouse, so it might not do so well outdoors, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, French beans. Oh gosh, there's 3 new ones gone in here, these 2 and that one, and it's yes, well, you can see there's a writhing around slug over there. They may not do so well, but we're hoping that they manage to perk up. Tomatoes, and over here of course we've got sweet corn and more tomatoes and some marigolds, and the new compost bin. It's all fully lined out now, and we've got some compost going in there, and I've got some bags that have bagged up manure and just weeds that we're just going to compost down. And actually there's a lot more composting weed bags in here. We've got potted up flowers and rosemary and some tomatoes that we were given, and the apple tree is going great guns. Some serious amount of fruit on here, so there's definitely going to be some dropping off of some excess fruit. So the bank, I've cleared a little bit of it, so we're going to leave the brambles so we have a crop of those this year. Pop some spare melon squashes up on that side there, just let them tumble down. And I've cleared this grassy area here. So I was just wondering what to do with this. There's several options. This year we're actually going to plant it in a line of sunflowers, but in future years I'd like to have a water feature, so I may plant it up and with some flowers and possibly some aquatics and that sort of thing, but there was other options. It's wide enough for a polytunnel, so we're only allowed a maximum of 8 by 6 polytunnel on this site, so that could go there, or some cold frame maybe. So the comfrey's doing alright at the back there. Coming around here, courgettes, strawberries, and we have been harvesting. They have been fruiting up very nicely. We've got the unknown variety. We call them the tasteless variety because we had them last year in the garden, and they were a freebie from off some gardening magazine or something like that, and they really were, you could tell why they were free. They were just, well, no flavour to them at all. Seemed to have a little bit more flavour, having been in this soil, probably the manure. And we've got Cambridge Favourite, which are a little bit behind, so we haven't had any of those yet. Right, coming through here, and the beetroot is really going well, finally, as it was struggling initially, and at the back there. The spinach has been merrily bolting for quite a while, but we're still harvesting it, and as yet the leaves aren't bitter, so we'll go with them. Cabbages! Shooting away very nicely. And so that question I asked in my previous video in May about the scorched leaves, so I noticed that Muddy Boots had mentioned it as well, and his were in a greenhouse, so he didn't have the fleece touching that we had, so it wasn't that, it was just purely the heat that causes the tips to go, so we'll know that for future years. Right, coming round to the flower bed. So we've just got one more dahlia to go in, and we've got dahlias all the way around, cosmos here, nautia in the middle. I've added another bag of bark, and down the front here we're going to have some herbs. Alright, sweet peas. They're a little bit pathetic at the moment, but hopefully they will climb up the obelisk and give us a decent display. And Palmeiras again, I just mentioned at the beginning, they're looking nicely full now. They've been topped up to their max for a couple of weeks, so they're looking good. Okay, just come back round to the start as usual. And that's it. Start of June. Probably we'll do another one later on this month, so I'll break a habit and actually do 2 in a month. Right, hope you're all well. Take care. Bye for now.